Hi everyone. This is just a short video where I'm going to talk about the tables assignment. That's Appendix D in the syllabus, which is formally known as the peer-reviewed tables assignment. Um, the real sort of purpose of this assignment is to give you a place to sort of systematically record information about your research topic. So you're going to complete each one of these tables for um, you're going to, excuse me, let me say that again. You're going to complete one of these tables for each of the 24 articles that you find uh, for your um, for your topic. And then what you can do is use this information to help you write the paper and actually put the poster presentation together. So what this really is sort of this is a like a stepping stone to to moving on to writing the paper. So let me talk about each of these sections real quick. Or actually, before I do that, this particular file just has one template in it. So what you're going to need to do is copy and paste this a whole bunch of times. What I like to do, just to keep this a little bit, keep this a little bit more organized, is put one article on a page. That's the way I do it. You don't have to do it. You can do it however you want. It's just sort of my own idiosyncrasy. So you're going to find articles related to population. So these are articles that are going to describe the population or the issue that they're having. Um, you're going to find articles related to policies that are either useful or harmful to the population, or policies that are an attempt to alleviate the social problem they're experiencing. And then you'll have a couple of articles related to theory and some related to intervention. Now you should have at least one article related to each of these areas. Um, but obviously, with 24 articles as the requirement, you're going to have a number of um, of, um, of articles sort of for each area. However many you have is sort of going to depend on your topic a little bit. But I would imagine ultimately the bulk of the articles that you find are going to be about population and intervention. And then, that's probably 80% of them right there. And then substantially fewer will be on policy and theory. So the only thing you're putting in this box here is sort of one word. Which area does the article cover? Population, policy, theory, or intervention? It may be that the article relates to more than one area, so you might put more than one of those words in there, and that would be fine. Then in this section, you put the article citation. If you put it in APA format, then all you have to do is copy and paste the the article, or I'm sorry, the citation into your paper. That'll save you a little bit of time. Next thing you're going to talk about is the purpose of the article, or what was the intent or the goal of um, of the um, of the article. I'll give you a hint real quick. You can often determine or detect what the purpose of an article or the goal is. It's often explicitly stated in the paragraph right before the methods section. So it's the very last paragraph of the introduction or lit review, depending on the style of that journal. Most articles will say something to the effect of, thus it was the purpose, or thus it was the goal of this paper to dot dot dot. After that, you're going to talk about any theory that the article uses that may not be explicitly stated in the article. You may have to infer. There may be some articles that don't use theory at all, in which case you could say that the article didn't use theory, or no theory used, or something like that. After that, you're talking about methodology. So how did they recruit their population? How did they sample? What measures did they use to assess the independent and dependent variables? After that, you're going to talk about findings. That's going to come from the results section. What were the relationships between the variables that you talked about in the methodology section here? You're also going to want to include information from the discussion. So what do those results mean? So that information is going to go here and sort of in recommendations for practice. The limitations section, if it's not, if there's no subheading in the article itself to discuss limitations, limitations are usually in the second to last paragraph of an article. So the very last paragraph is often a conclusion, a summary, so to speak. But the limitations usually come directly before that. So usually the second to last paragraph or third to last paragraph, depending on how many articles or on how many limitations they have. So limitations would go here. Those are often spelled out pretty explicitly in an article, and then recommendations for practice. Most articles will have some statements about how their findings transform practice, but you may need to make some inferences as well. So a couple of spots in an article that are going to be helpful for you. First of all, the abstract. That will be helpful. Much of the information that you need, at least the skeleton of the information for this table, could come from the abstract. The last paragraph of the introduction, that's going to be an important paragraph for you as well. That often will give you the purpose or the goal of the article. The second to last paragraph in the discussion section is usually where limitations are. And then the very last paragraph in the discussion is usually a sort of a brief summary of what the findings and results are. So that's usually a good paragraph to read as well. Now, in some articles, the very first paragraph of the discussion is sort of a broad overview of what they're going to talk about in the discussion. There's usually some helpful information in there as well. So again, I'd recommend looking at the abstract. And these are the places you're going to sort of pay special attention. The abstract, the last paragraph in the introduction, the first paragraph in the discussion, the last paragraph in the discussion, and then the second to last paragraph in the discussion, since that's where the limitations are. Now, depending on what the article is, depending on what the article does, you may find that as you start to put these tables together, as you do more and more and more of them, for some articles you have more findings, for some articles you have more theory, you have in some articles you have more limitations, some articles you have more recommendations, that kind of thing. That's fine. Not every article is going to be enormously helpful, but all of these articles sort of taken together are what's going to be helpful. So this document here, this table template document, this is on Moodle for you. And as always, you're welcome to get in touch with me if you have questions. Now, you are going to submit half of these tables to me in a couple of weeks. That'll give me a chance to give you some feedback on how you're doing, and before you submit the second half. So again, as always, if you have questions, feel free to get in touch. Thanks for watching.